What if I told you that the most important lessons about money, the lessons that shape whether you'll live in freedom or in struggle, were never taught to you in school? You were shown equations, history dates, and scientific formulas. But no one explained how to actually manage the paycheck you'd one day earn. Isn't it strange? The very tool that rules so much of our lives, money, was left for you to figure out on your own. Maybe you've already felt it. You graduate, you step into the real world, and suddenly, bills, debts, and taxes hit you like a storm. You look around, and you realize, nobody prepared me for this. You know how to solve for X on paper, but you don't know how to make your income last till the end of the month. That's the harsh reality schools left you with. Here's the truth, the wealthy already know. Financial freedom is not about luck, nor is it about being born rich. It's about learning the rules of money that schools never taught you and applying them with discipline. The game of wealth has always been played in silence, behind closed doors. But today, we're opening that door, so take a deep breath. This isn't going to be another lecture filled with dry numbers and heavy jargon. This is a journey, a conversation between you and me, a chance to peel back the layers of silence and finally hear the financial lessons that should have been yours long ago. I want you to imagine this audiobook as the missing classroom, the one you never had. A classroom where the chalkboard is replaced by real stories. The equations are replaced by practical tools. And the tests are the very challenges you face in your daily life. And by the time we reach the end, you'll carry something far more valuable than information. You'll carry perspective, clarity, and the power to reshape your financial destiny. Because while schools may not have taught you these 5 lessons, life will keep testing you on them until you learn. Let's learn them now, together. Number 1, the hidden foundation. Budgeting basics. Let me start with a question. Why is it that so many people, even those earning a good salary, still find themselves broke at the end of every month? How can someone with a respectable paycheck live under the same stress as someone earning half as much? The answer is simple, but it's also uncomfortable. Most people don't budget. Why budgeting feels unnecessary. Budgeting, for many, sounds boring, restrictive, even unnecessary. People tell themselves, I don't need a budget. I know how much I make, and I know what I spend. But here's the truth. Memory is not a system, and intention is not control without a budget. Money leaks silently through impulse buys, forgotten subscriptions, little luxuries that add up faster than you realize. And the saddest part? Most people don't discover the leak until they're drowning in debt. I'll tell you the simple power of a budget. Think of budgeting as a roadmap. Without it, you're wandering, hoping you'll arrive at financial freedom someday. With it, you have direction, you know where every dollar is going, and you can choose whether it's working for your future or against it. Budgeting isn't about restriction, it's about clarity. It's about telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. A story to remember. Let's imagine 2 friends, Alex and Jordan. Both earn the same salary. Alex never budgets. He spends freely. Trusting his instincts, he eats out often, upgrades his phone every year, buys things to treat himself after long workdays. At the end of each month, he wonders why his account is empty. Jordan, on the other hand, sits down every month and creates a plan. He sets aside money for essentials, for savings, and yes, even for fun. He knows his limits, and he sticks to them. 10 years later, Alex is still living paycheck to paycheck. While Jordan has a cushion of savings, investments growing in the background, and peace of mind that money can't buy, same salary to outcomes. The difference wasn't income, it was the habit of budgeting. How to start budgeting? Now, let's strip away the intimidation. A budget doesn't have to be complicated. Start with 3 buckets. 1. Essentials: rent, bills, food, transportation. 2. Growth, savings, investments, debt repayment. 3. Lifestyle, the fun stuff. The things that bring you joy. When you divide your money intentionally, you start to realize something powerful. You can actually afford more of what you love, because you've cut away the waste you didn't even notice before. But here's the real point. Budgeting is not about the numbers. It's about the story those numbers tell. It's about your values, your priorities, your vision of the future. Every budget is like a mirror. It shows you what you truly care about. If your budget reveals that most of your money goes to impulse and status, maybe it's time to ask, is that really the life I want? Budgeting gives you the rarest gift of all, control. And control, my friend, is the first step to freedom. So, we've uncovered the foundation budgeting. Without it, everything else collapses. But with it, you're ready to move to the next level. Because budgeting tells you where your money goes, but investing, that's what tells your money where it can grow. And that's where we head next into the power of investing early and why time is the greatest ally of wealth. Number 2, planting wealth early. Power of investing early. Let me ask you something. If you had a choice between receiving $1 million today or a single penny that doubles in value every day for 30 days, which would you choose? Most people would grab the million. But if you chose the penny, by day 30, you'd have over $5 million. That's the magic of compounding. And that's why investing early isn't just an advantage, it's the ultimate secret. The magic of time. Money has a best friend, and that friend is time. The earlier you invest, the more years your money has to grow, multiply, and expand. Every dollar you put to work today is like planting a seed. With time, that seed grows into a tree. And the longer you wait, the larger the forest becomes. But here's the tragedy. Most people delay. They tell themselves, I'll start investing when I earn more, or I'll do it once I've paid off this or that. But every year lost is growth stolen. Picture this. Sarah starts investing $200 a month at age 20. She stops at 30 after only 10 years. John waits until 30 to begin investing the same $200 a month. He continues all the way to 65 by retirement. Who has more? Sarah, the one who invested less money but started earlier, ends up ahead because time amplified her returns. It's not just what you invest, it's when you invest. Why we fear investing. Now, let's be honest. Many people avoid investing because it feels risky. The stock market goes up and down, real estate prices fluctuate. There's uncertainty, but here's the deeper truth. The biggest risk isn't losing money in the market. The biggest risk is not participating at all. Inflation quietly eats your savings, costs rise, your paycheck loses power every year. If your money isn't growing, it's shrinking. How to start small. The beauty of investing is that you don't need to start big. Even small amounts, consistently invested, can grow into life-changing sums. Start with what you can: $50, $100, $200 a month. Choose long-term investments, index funds, diversified portfolios, assets that grow steadily over time. Automate it, so you don't rely on discipline alone. Remember, it's not timing the market. It's time in the market that builds wealth. Investing is not just about money. It's about faith in growth. In the future, in yourself. It's about saying, I believe my tomorrow is worth planting for today. Every investment is a declaration that you're not living only for the present, but for a future of freedom, dignity, and choice. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, if I had started investing 5 years ago, where would I be today? And now ask, if I start today, where will I be 5 years from now? That's the question that separates those who live paycheck to paycheck from those who live in abundance. So far, we've built a foundation with budgeting. We've planted seeds with early investing. But there's another area where people often stumbled at. Some debts destroy, some debts build. And understanding the difference is a lesson schools never gave us. Let's move now into that critical truth. Number 3, the double-edged sword. Good debt versus bad debt. Debt. Just hearing the word can make your stomach tighten. For many, debt feels like chains of weight, dragging them deeper into stress and limitation. And yet, For others, debt is a ladder, a tool they use to climb higher, faster, stronger. So which is it? Is debt a curse or a blessing? The truth is, it can be both. The difference lies not in the debt itself, but in how you use it, the trap of bad debt. Let's start with what most people know all too well: bad debt. Bad debt is borrowing money for things that don't grow in value and don't bring you income. Credit card splurges, luxury items bought on installment, payday loans with crushing interest rates. This kind of debt doesn't just cost you money, it steals your future. It drains tomorrow to feed today. Imagine buying a $1,000 gadget on a credit card at 20% interest. If you only pay the minimum, that gadget could cost you $2,000 or more by the time you're done. Bad debt is like quicksand. The harder you struggle, the deeper you sink. The power of good debt. But debt doesn't have to be destructive, used wisely. Debt can be one of the greatest tools of wealth. Good debt is money borrowed to buy or build something that increases in value or produces income. Think of a mortgage on a rental property, a business loan to expand operations, or student loans for an education that genuinely increases your earning power. When used strategically, good debt accelerates your progress. It's like leveraging a lever with the same effort. You move so much more. Two paths. One choice. Consider Maria and David. Maria uses her credit cards recklessly. She vacations on borrowed money, eats out on borrowed money, shops for clothes she can't afford. 10 years later, she's working harder than ever, but her debt is crushing her. David, meanwhile, takes a loan to buy a duplex. He rents out one unit, lives in the other, and lets the rental income cover most of the mortgage. 10 years later, not only is his loan shrinking, but his property value has grown, and his tenants have effectively built his wealth for him. Both had debt, one was trapped, one was free. How to evaluate debt? So, how do you know whether debt is good or bad? Ask yourself, will this debt put money in my pocket or take it out? Does this purchase appreciate in value or depreciate? Will my future self thank me for this decision or resent me for it? If debt creates assets, income, or opportunities for growth, it leans toward good. If it creates liabilities, stress, or fleeting pleasure, it's almost always bad. Here's what schools never told you. Debt is not just financial. It's emotional, it's psychological. Bad debt robs you not just of dollars, but of peace. Good debt, however, empowers you, because it reminds you that money can work in your favor. Not just against you, debt itself is neutral. It's the hand that wields it that determines whether it becomes a sword or a shackle. But let's be careful. Even good debt can turn sour if mismanaged. Borrow too much, move too fast, or underestimate risk. And what was meant to lift you can break you. The rule is simple. Borrow with intention, not impulse. So now we've uncovered the truth. Debt doesn't have to be your enemy. It can be your aleph. You learn to tell good from bad. But there's another layer schools never explained. Even when you earn, even when you borrow, even when you invest, there's a silent force shaping how much of your money you actually keep. That hidden force is taxes, and understanding how money really works in the hands of governments. Businesses and individuals can change everything. Let's step into the invisible game. Number 4, the invisible game, taxes and how money really works. Let me ask you something simple but powerful. Do you really know how money moves once it leaves your paycheck? Because here's the truth, schools never explained earning money is just the first level of the game. The real game begins when you learn how much of that money you actually get to keep. And that's where taxes come in, the hidden player in your finances. Taxes are the invisible hand that touches every dollar you make, every purchase you buy, every investment you hold. Most people see taxes as a burden, a deduction on their paycheck, a bill they dread every year. But in reality, taxes are rules of the game, and like every game, Those who know the rules win, those who don't, they lose. Often without even realizing it. Why schools never teach this? Think about it. You spent years learning algebra, trigonometry, history, dates, but not once did anyone show you how your paycheck gets eaten up before it even reaches your bank account. Why? Because the system works more smoothly when people play blind. When you don't understand the rules, you don't question them. But once you do, you see opportunities most people miss. The wage earner's trap. Here's what happens to most people. They get a job. They earn a salary, and then, before they can touch their money, taxes take the first bite. The government gets paid before you do. By the time you pay income tax, sales tax, property tax, and hidden taxes in everyday goods, a large chunk of your effort has vanished into thin air. This is why so many hardworking people feel stuck. They're running fast, but the treadmill keeps pulling them back. How the wealthy play differently. Now here's where the game changes. The wealthy don't just earn money, they structure money. Instead of being employees, they often operate as business owners or investors. And here's the difference. Employees earn first, pay taxes immediately, and spend what's left. Business owners earn first, spend on their business, and pay taxes last. See the shift. The order in which money flows changes everything. Imagine two people earning $100,000. One is an employee, the other is a small business owner. The employee pays $30,000 in taxes, then spends what's left. The business owner reinvests in their company buying equipment, covering expenses, even travel related to business, after deductions. Maybe only $50,000 counts as taxable income. Their tax bill shrinks. Same income, different rules, different outcomes. Taxes as a tool, not an enemy. Most people view taxes as punishment, but the wealthy view taxes as guidance. Governments often reward behaviors that help society, creating jobs, providing housing, investing in renewable energy. When you align your money with those incentives, you reduce your taxes and create more value. It's not about evading taxes. It's about playing by the rules of the game smarter than most. Understanding money flow, but here's something even deeper. It's not just about taxes. It's about understanding how money actually flows. Money is always moving from one pocket to another. From one account to another, the wealthy think of money like water in a river. If it's stagnant, it breeds problems. If it flows wisely into investments, assets, opportunities, it multiplies. The poor often hold money tight out of fear or spend it recklessly for short-term relief. The rich circulate money strategically, letting it pass through systems that multiply its value before it comes back to them. A simple example, think of two friends, Lisa and Mark. Lisa works a 9-to-5 job. She gets her paycheck, pays taxes, and spends most of what's left. By year's end, she wonders where her money went. Mark also earns the same amount. But he owns a small side business. He invests in equipment, writes off expenses, and reinvests profits into growth. His taxable income shrinks, his business grows, and his money flows back to him through appreciating assets. Lisa complains about how unfair taxes are. Mark studies them, uses them, and benefits from them. Both live under the same government. One plays blind, the other plays smart. The real financial education is this. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and multiply. Taxes aren't the enemy, they're the teacher. They reveal the rules of a game most never knew they were playing. And once you understand this invisible game, you stop seeing money as something scarce. You see it as something that can be directed, multiplied, and aligned with the very system you thought was against you. So far, we've explored budgeting, investing, and the difference between good debt and bad debt. Now we've pulled back the curtain on taxes and the flow of money itself. But there's one more lesson schools never taught. A lesson that has nothing to do with numbers, charts, or calculators. It has everything to do with you. Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't just built on strategy, it's built on mindset. And the final lesson is perhaps the hardest to master. Emotional control with money. Let's step into that now. Number 5. The silent skill. Emotional control with money. Let me ask you this. How many times have you made a financial decision based not on logic, but on emotion? Maybe you bought something because you were sad, stressed, or simply bored. Maybe you sold an investment too early out of fear. Or maybe you avoided taking a financial step because doubt whispered in your ear, "What if I fail?" The truth is, money is never just about numbers. It's about emotions. And until you learn to master your emotions around money, no strategy, no budgeting, no investing, no tax plan will truly set you free. The emotional roller coaster of money. Think about the last time the stock market dipped. Millions of people sold in panic, locking in losses, while a few quietly bought more. Same event, different reactions. And that difference, panic versus patience, often determines who stays broke and who builds wealth. Emotions are powerful. Fear can paralyze, greed can blind. Envy can push you into debt just to keep up. Guilt can make you spend money to fill emotional voids. And unless you learn to control these emotions, money will control you. Why schools never address this? Schools are designed to teach technical skills. They'll teach you how to solve equations, write essays, or memorize dates. But they never once teach you how to regulate fear when the market dips. They don't teach you how to handle the jealousy when your neighbor drives a new car, or how to resist the urge to spend your entire bonus the moment it hits your account. Yet, in the real world, these emotional skills often matter more than intellectual ones. The danger of impulse. We live in a world designed to tempt us. Advertisements aren't just selling products. They're selling feelings, confidence, happiness, status. Social media feeds us daily reminders of what we don't have, pushing us toward impulse spending. And every impulse purchase feels good for a moment. But what follows? Guilt, regret, sometimes even debt. Financial success requires pressing pause, taking a breath, asking, "Do I need this, or am I just feeding an emotion?" Money as a mirror. Here's the deeper truth. Money doesn't change who you are. It amplifies who you are. If you're reckless with $100, you'll likely be reckless with $10,000. If you're generous with little, you'll be generous with much. If fear controls you when stakes are small, it will paralyze you when stakes are big. This is why emotional control is not optional. It is essential, because money will magnify your mindset. The discipline of delayed gratification. One of the most powerful emotional muscles you can build is patience, the ability to delay gratification. The poor often seek immediate pleasure. The flashy car, the new phone, the night out. The wealthy, however, master patience. They plant seeds today, even if it means waiting years to enjoy the harvest. Warren Buffett once said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." Patience, in other words, is profit practical tools for emotional mastery. So how do you strengthen emotional control with money? Here are a few tools. Pause before spending. Build a 24-hour rule. If you want to buy something outside your budget, wait a day. Often, the urge fades. Detach from the crowd. Just because everyone around you is spending doesn't mean you need to. Wealth often grows quietly in the background. Track emotional patterns. Notice when you spend the most. Is it when you're stressed, lonely, excited? Awareness creates control. Celebrate discipline, not just wealth. Every time you resist an impulse, you are training your financial muscles. Celebrate that, the stories we tell ourselves. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of emotional control is rewriting your money story. So many people grew up hearing, "Money is evil, rich people are greedy, I'll never be good with money," and these beliefs quietly sabotage financial success. Because if deep down you think money corrupts, you'll unconsciously push it away. Mastering emotional control means rewriting that script, replacing scarcity with abundance, fear with courage, guilt with gratitude. Final reminder, stepping into financial wisdom at the end of the day. Financial freedom isn't just about budgeting, investing, debt, or taxes. It's about you. It's about who you become in the process of managing money. Because money will not make you disciplined. It will not make you wise. It will not calm your fears. Those are things you must master first. Then, money becomes a servant, not a master. So here we are. We've walked through 5 lessons schools never taught you: how to budget with clarity, the power of investing early, the difference between good and bad debt, the invisible game of taxes and money flow, and finally, the emotional control that makes all the other lessons possible. Now the question is, what will you do with them? Because knowledge alone changes nothing, but action disciplined, consistent. Courageous action can change everything. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. One budget, one investment. One new belief, one disciplined decision. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. Wealth is not built in the classroom. It's built in the choices you make every single day. So choose wisely. Choose courage. Choose growth. Your financial future is waning, and it's in your hands. Thank you for spending this moment with Awaken Light Audio. If something today touched your heart or opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What spoke to you most? Tell us about your journey, your questions, your breakthroughs, and let us know what you'd love to hear next. Subscribe to stay connected. And if this message could uplift someone you care about, send it their way, because light grows when it's shared. Until next time, stay present, stay awakened, and keep becoming who you're meant to be.